Hey YouTube, welcome once again to my channel. This is Gino Bonino, and I certainly appreciate that you could come and watch another video. This is going to be a continuation of my treasury books, treasures that I kind of separated from the rest of my collection for one reason or the other. A couple things that I should talk about that I didn't in my last video. One is I have going to have a whole separate video on slabbed books, so there may be some things that are alphabetically supposed to go in here or there, but aren't, because I kind of keep my slab books in a special box. Also, I have signed books that would be either repeats of some issues I have, or would be alphabetically where they're in these videos, but once again they'll be saved for a different video all by themselves. I apologize for the green. There's a lot of it, but just felt that you needed a little background, and so that's why I put that in. And some movie news, if some of you have not heard yet, and probably most of you have, Woody Harrelson has been cast to be in the Venom movie. The part he's going to play is unannounced. They haven't mentioned it yet. And also, probably within the next couple days, Fox is going to have been purchased by Marvel and the Walt Disney Company. So that's big news. That'll probably affect some books here or there. I imagine that if Hugh Jackman comes and does another Wolverine movie, or is in the MCU, that will make those books spike. He did mention that he thinks that his time is over, but once again, money talks. We'll wait and see what happens. Anyway, let's go. So where we ended last time was with this book, which was Batman 497. Again, this is where Batman actually get his back broken. They redid this entire scene pretty well in the movie, actually. He gets picked up and slammed into Bane's knee, and again cracks his back. In the movie, he wasn't out very long. He was basically rehabbed himself fairly quickly, but in the comic book series, he was out for quite a few issues, and basically there was a guy named Azrael who took over the reign of the Batman, I guess, even though his costume was completely different. But anyway, this is where we left off with Batman 497. And the following books will be Batman books. They may be a little out of order. There's so damn many of them that it's kind of hard to keep it all straight. But anyway, I did the best I could. Starting with Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. And this is number 89. This is the pink cover. I believe there's different covers of this, different colors, or it might just be that they numbered it differently. I'm not exactly sure, but this is the only one I have, number 89. Followed by the before mentioned Batman Sword of Azrael, number 1. Sorry, this is number 1. Out of order already. And that was number 3. So 1, and then 3, I have a couple copies of that. And that's followed by Vengeance of Bane. Basically, I've got 4 of these. This was a very, very hot book when I collected, and that leads me to another thing, which is some of these books have actually fallen out of hotness, if you will. But when I first took these out of my collection and put them kind of in my special boxes, these were hot books. These were like, you know, the ones that were going for well above guide and stuff like that. And so is such as comic books. I mean, some things have fallen into hotness, some have fallen out. And that's something I actually have to do, is kind of go through my huge collection and sort of reassess, because I know there's certain things like Moon Knight. I mean, who would have known? Moon Knight became hot, as did Darkhawk, characters like that were basically very fringe characters 10, 15 years ago, and now they're warming up. So I will have to pull some of those books out and put some of these away. But anyway, again, this is where the hobby was about 15 or 20 years ago. So these were hot books then. They still are, but I mean, they're not, you know, nowhere compared to what they were. Anyway, I got a few copies of that. I actually have 4. And I actually think I even have one signed. But this was a hard book to kind of get your hands on because it's a really thick, kind of a square back book. And it was hard to get this in really, you know, really good condition. Next is a modern book, but I love this cover. I thought it was excellent, and actually the storyline's pretty good too. It's Dark Knight, Batman Who Laughs. Basically, it's kind of like, what would you get if you mixed Batman and the Joker in one character, and that's sort of what this is about. But I really liked, again, the cover's pretty cool, with the Joker Robins kind of on chains. I think, again, this was a very cool cover. It caught my eye, so... And that's issue number 1. And I've got a couple of those. Followed by an issue that I actually have shown you guys before, which is my Black Panther 1. I'm actively going to sell this one after Christmas, just before the movie hits. That's kind of my game plan on this. This is a nice issue. Again, nice and clean. The only thing is it does have a subscription crease down the middle, which has been pressed as best as it can. You can barely see it, but it's there. And unfortunately kind of hurts the value of the book. But other than that, it's in good shape. Next is C's, Captain America. I've got issue number 100. Which was where he was basically came back. Captain America is one of Marvel's oldest, I think it actually is its oldest superhero, which goes way back, Captain America and the Human Torch. But anyway, he was relaunched. He started out as a World War II hero, and then he was relaunched as kind of a modern superhero, and that's where this comes back in to play. This is Captain America 100. It's in little bit nicer condition than it looks. What it is, these top loaders often get a little foggy and a little nasty looking, and they'll make the book look a little less bright than it actually is. But I like the fact that it's in a front loader, or a top loader, excuse me, so I keep it as it is right there. But anyway, it's in pretty good shape. That's issue 100 and 101 and 103 with a Red Skull appearance, and 105. I hope the glare isn't... it's not too bad. Good. I know the bags are a little wibbly wobbly, so they kind of can show up and cause some glare to the camera, but it's not too bad. Issue 106 and 107. 112 jumps to. And followed by a little bit more modern books, I guess, which is a cool issue, which is a Captain America and Punisher, sort of where they go after each other. Again, a pretty noteworthy cover in that you've got the Punisher standing on Cap's shield, which is one of those things you don't want to do, I guess. And anyway, he's doing it, and he's got a gun pointed right at Captain America. So this is a cool cover. That's issue 241. And this is the newsstand edition with the bar through it. I don't know what the bar through it means. I've seen some with and without the bar through it. I think it has to do with where it was sold or something of that nature. The Champions, which never really turned out to be too much, but it was just, again, Marvel kind of into their whole team-up phase, and this is who they came up with, was kind of their B or C characters. They put them all together and called them the Champions. But anyway, it's a #1 issue, so I figured, you know, still collectible, worth getting. Then Daredevil. I've got Daredevil 20, which is an owl appearance. Daredevil number 21. And I love this cover, 27. This is Daredevil and Dr. Doom. Again, very cool cover. Can't help but like this book. Daredevil 77, which I've shown before. This is one that I got in a trade about a month ago. Daredevil number 141. Is that 141? Excuse me here. 181. Sorry, I should know this by heart. Anyway, this was the beginning of the Elektra, death of Elektra. And again, this is a very kind of famous cover, followed by 183, which is once again a Punisher cover, followed by 196 with a Wolverine appearance. 197, and these are cool Frank Miller. I think this was a Frank Miller run. 200. Once again, a very cool cover. 229. I do have the famous one, which is where Elektra is stabbed. That one, however, is out getting slapped. It's in the process of that. When those come back, I'll show you guys them. 229. And 257. Again, very cool cover. Whenever it seems like Punisher and Daredevil kind of lock horns, pardon the pun, quite often. Done with Daredevils for the time being. Now we get into a Dead Man. This is a Dead Man number 212. Kind of an old, again, 12-cent DC'er. Nice book. And I've showed you guys this book as well. This is one that I got on a trade not too long ago. Defenders number 1. Got another copy of this, but it's in better shape, and that one's off getting slabbed right now as well. I've got about, I think, 20 or 30 books that I sent out in an order, getting pressed and dry cleaned and slabbed. So I'm hoping that they come back with good grades. But again, I'll let you know, they just got through the pressing phase, and I was notified, and they're sent off to CGC, so probably back in about a month or so. Then we get back into Batman, which is Detective Comics. This is the annual number 1. And then we start getting into the other run. This is 641, Detective Comics. And now we're back into the Nightfall run. This is where basically Detective Comics and Batman kind of ping-pong back and forth with the story. This is issue 660 with a Killer Croc appearance. I've got a few of those. I kind of got quite a few of the Nightfall books. And I've got 661. 662, and 663. Of all of them, I think this is probably my favorite cover. I like the one where he's kind of drowning with rats on him. That's kind of gross and cool all at the same time. Then we have where things start getting serious, 664. This is where he's fighting Bane after being tired from all the other villains let out by Bane, and this is where things start getting real. This is 664 and 665. And 666, and then, of course, he gets his back broken, so then we switch to Azrael covers. This is Azrael's appearance. This is how he looked when he kind of took the mantle of Batman. That's 667. And him again, 668. $669 and $670. Then I don't know why I put this in here. I guess I thought it was going to be a little hotter than it really turned out to be. This is Digitech, put up by Marvel. One of their, when they were kind of they did a bunch of stuff where they were putting out one-shots and things like that. But anyway, this was Digitech. Apparently, it was supposed to be a it was supposed to be kind of like a digitalized computer-generated hero. Never really did take off, but you never know what happens. Anyway, this is number 1. Then I have the modern Batman stuff that I just bought, what was the Doomsday Clock. This is where the Watchmen and the DC universe basically crossed over. This is the variant cover, which was issued the night of release, the 10/59 release, and it was the kind of the black and white variant. Then you have this one, which is kind of the it switches. You can see it's kind of hard to see, but anyway, it switches between this and then the DC logos of both Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. And then the same as the colored one, as the black and white one, but this one's colored. Variant copies. Then we get from D's to F's. Fantastic Four. And I have some old ones that very key issues. This is 49. Early Galactus. And 50, which is Silver Surfer. 53. Then I have 56, which is getting slabbed. I believe that's with the him on the cover, or at least the Cocoon on the cover. That turns out to be him, and is going to be in the upcoming Avengers movie. 61, 63, 66, and like I mentioned, this is definitely tie-ins to what's coming up. 68 and 80. I do have 55, which is Thanos. I'll show that later. I've got one slabbed and one going, sending off to be getting slabbed. And I have kind of an indie book called From Hell. It's a pretty good read. But again, this was hot at one time. I don't know if it still is. I haven't even checked. But it was pretty cool. This is just, I think, a single shot book. I have some early Green Lantern, which is... let's see what issue this is. I believe this is 12. Issue 12. And then I have the Glow in the Dark, issue 50. This was a very hot book at one time. Then we jump to H's and Harbinger. I've got a few sets of 1 through 4. I know I've talked about Harbinger quite a lot. Used to be a smoking hot book. I used to get sets of them and then trade them off for key issue. That's actually how I obtained a lot of the older books. Once again, this one is pretty much just jacked, this top loader, but you see what happens to them when they are exposed to sunlight and stuff like that. They don't hurt the comic inside, I've checked, but they do get kind of yellow. But anyway, this was issue number 2. I've got a bunch of 1s. I'll show that later. And here's a 2 without a top loader. And I've got 1 and 3 and 4, but I will show those once again later on. They're in the signed book and slab book area. Then Hardcore, this was once again the 0 issue, or the 1 issue, excuse me, with the gold variant cover. and also the gold lettering. I don't know if this was a send away or something like that. I think it was. It was a special book. It wasn't like the normal one just because of you could always tell with the gold. And then I have a few of these, which were send away books, Hulk and Venom. And the exact name of this was Incredible Hulk versus Venom. I don't know, not much is happening with these. I thought they would be a little bit more hot than they turned out to be. They've got sort of a embossed cover. You can feel it. The characters are sticking out. And that is it for this box of treasures. This was a little bit more boring than the last one. But again, I want to make it through the entire set of stuff that I have. So that was kind of the whole idea of this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do enjoy the comments, guys. I really do appreciate it. And please tell your friends to subscribe. Give me a shout out, whatever. There's more videos to come. And I also have some very cool props from movies that I'm going to show in videos very soon. I've been holding on to some stuff. I got some Star Trek The Next Generation props and things of that nature, which is, again, very cool stuff. Thanks again, guys. Once again, this is Gino Bonino. I appreciate the views, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.